So I've been meditating a lot, right? And the other night, for the first time, I tried a chakra cleansing meditation.
Just break it down, because I'm sure that there's like people listening that have no fucking clue what that
Okay,
is.
so a chakra cleansing meditation. Essentially the idea, and keep in mind these like are all frameworks for like ways to think about the universe. It's not a hard fast rule, right? I'm not
Mm.
saying that we have these chakras. I'm saying you can think about yourself as having these chakras.
And it can help you like kind of break yourself
Break
off a
something
little
down.
bit. Yeah,
Exactly.
break something down, understand something, like understand yourself a little bit more.
Exactly. And I
It's
think
like
that's
changing the way that you think about things.
yeah, I think that's the best way to think about any type of world religion or spirituality is in that way. Like not to take it so literally that this is the way, but like this is a way of thinking about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I really like that. That's like kind of a nice it's almost a nice little analogy with like the whole podcast too.
Oh my god, we keep coming full circle. This is
It's
beautiful,
a way to
guys.
think about it. Anyway, go
Um
on, sorry.
so I've been doing this. So what chakra cleansing is it breaks down the body, and I'm gonna butcher this for anyone who knows what the hell I'm talking about, but
Dude, there are some hippies out there getting
I
mad at
know,
you, dude.
I know.
Holy
I'm
shit,
not
you
an
better watch
expert.
your tongue.
So there's like 7 or 8 chakras in your body, and they start at the base of your spine, right at your tailbone, and they
Mhm.
go all the way up your back, and then into your throat, into the third eye, which is the space in the middle of your forehead between your two eyes. I'm sure you guys have all seen like third eye shit.
Yeah.
And then the crown, the top of your head. And it's a 20-minute meditation. And what it does is you sit still in a comfortable position, close your eyes, breathe, and follow her voice. And what she does is she turns your attention to those specific areas in your body. And you can feel them relax. Like you can, she talks it out and like, she's like, so for the first chakra, you're going to push all your attention into your tailbone.
Was this
And
like a video you're watching or
yeah,
something that broke it down? Okay, I see, I see.
yeah. And she's like, now imagine that that chakra is planting roots into the ground and you feel the weight of your body sinking onto whatever you're sitting on. And
Bro,
it's like, whoa, like shit. So you have your eyes closed and you're listening to this and you're literally imagining yourself like fucking growing roots into the ground, bro. Like it's
I'll be straight.
trippy.
When you were saying that, I felt it a little bit,
I
just because your
know.
voice was like really calming, and I was like, "Oh, this is nice. Keep
You
talking,
guys
Casey. Put
have
me to sleep."
you guys have to try this. So
I honestly kind of might. I mean, like, what's the harm, right?
that's the thing. There's no harm. Like
There's
you
literally no harm.
no, and the only thing it can do is make your life a little bit better maybe. You know what I mean?
Mm.
So I've been really into like trying all these different practices. And anyways, I did this one and my review on it is holy hell, it's amazing. Like it's like
Sick.
I can I can literally you literally felt, at least for me, what happened was once I went through the whole process from the bottom all the way up to the top, I could literally feel like the energy of my body was completely isolated on those areas. And when it moved on, that area completely relaxed. So by the end of it, my whole body was like the most zen and like weightless. I felt like I could like stand up and jump and I'd be like Peter Pan, bro. Like
Wow.
it was insane. So anyways, because of that, when I was under the influence a little bit earlier today, I was thinking about that thing and like the fact that I could direct my attention to different parts of my body. And I started focusing on the third eye area, which is supposed to be the area that like opens your mind up, whatever else. And you guys are going to laugh at this, and I feel like an idiot saying this, but I swear to God, I transcended time for like 20 seconds. I'm not kidding.
I'm sorry. That's actually cool though. Like the to feel that though. Like You know, like just like to actually experience it, or at least feel like you're experiencing it.
Yeah. Like who cares? Who cares whether it was my perception or I was actually tapping into that thing? You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I experienced that, and whether it was because I was high or whether it was because I've been meditating, who cares, man? Like it was crazy.
You had a good experience at the end of the day. That's all that really matters, right?
Yeah, and like I do honestly think like on that subject though, I do think that it is something that I tapped into just because there's no way for me to know what that feeling feels like. Do you know what it feels like to transcend time?
I don't think anyone could.
No, you can't even rationalize it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But
It's
like
just the words that you're choosing to assign to that feeling.
that
Like,
too. Like let me explain it. So it's like basically what happened was I felt as if I could like I was thinking about the podcast and like what I'm going to talk about and whatever else, and I could see myself explaining this very moment to you guys in that moment, like while that was happening. You know what I mean?
wow.
Like I saw this moment happen before my eyes, and when I realized that that was happening, it was like this weight was lifting off, and I could now think about what happened in my past, and like it all was just this all-encompassing feeling of past, present, and future. For like 20 seconds, this wasn't like a long thing. It was just this
Hmm.
moment of like I could feel everything.
See, because I definitely do think I've felt things like that when I've been high. Specifically talking about like time kind of dilating in interesting ways, because I feel like I've had experiences where I'm sitting and I'm watching a show or something, and I'll be thinking about something like really really deeply, and I'll feel like I have almost this like full conversation with myself about whether it be a project idea or just something that I want to do or like anything. And then I almost like come to, and like a minute has passed or something, but it felt like a lifetime, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true, man, because like you are escaping time. Like,
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like you
at least in your brain, you're like almost like tricking your brain into like
Mm-hmm.
well, that's the
thinking
way
that
that we as humans can rationalize it because we can't
yeah.
rationalize it. So we're like, yeah, well, I guess we must have just perceived it that way. But it's like, okay, what if that was it though? What if our framework for how we think about what reality is completely skewed? Our measurement for time is dumb. It works, but it's not the way.
Mm-hmm.
And like that experience was actually like a real thing.
Yeah.
It wasn't
There I
just your
guess
perception.
kind of comes back to like the whole everything's a simulation point that we were
Mm-hmm.
sort of touched on,
Yeah.
because it's like who really knows?
Yeah. So that was my trip, guys. Like, and like it, I had to tell you guys about it just because, like, I also had to have this moment of like,
Hmm.
I said that thing. You know what I mean? Because now I'm sitting here almost having that trip again because I'm like, yeah, it
You're
happened.
like diving back in.
I'm
You're like
diving right back in.
it's kind of interesting because it's like as you were talking, I almost like because you were worried that you wouldn't do a good job of explaining the whole chakra thing, but as you were explaining it, I genuinely felt like you were doing like a really good job because I could actually picture it, and like as you were talking, it almost felt like you were guiding yourself back into that state as you were describing it. To me, at
Yes.
least. I don't know.
No,
That's
I
how.
felt that too. Like you were very calm, and like that's kind of why I went really quiet, just because like I was just so like at like kind of in my own form of meditation.
You were very precise with your language,
Yeah.
and like it was very, not to say like out of character, but it was just like it. I didn't expect you to pop off like that.
For the first podcast, man, we're going in. Like,
Yeah.
I appreciate it, guys. I appreciate you hearing that out because I know it's one of those things that's like I don't know. It's hard to listen to someone talk about something like that.
Well, no, I think it's like so like that is such a powerful feeling, and like I know that I mean like I've been um into meditation and mind and body, kind of that kind of sort of stuff for a little while. And it's such a powerful feeling when you do feel like that connection with, you know, I mean, I don't know if it's like this for you, but like that connection with, you know, your mind, your body, and everything around you.
Yeah.
Like time, like anything that exists. And it is such a powerful, powerful thing. And I feel like a lot of people kind of look at that and are like, what the fuck are you talking about? But it's like something that's very real. And I think it's something that's super, like, if you get to experience it, it's just that's a feeling that you're never going to forget, but it takes more than just wanting to recreate.
It takes
if that makes sense.
practice.
Yeah. I mean, like, whether it's, you know, I'm not somebody who, like, I don't smoke weed or like do anything anymore, but like,
But you have a
you know,
trippy past, Kens. Like, I don't know if you want that out
I
there,
do
but like you have a very psychedelic aspect of your life.
Really?
I do, yeah. I feel
Like,
like
think
this is
about
nice,
that.
Brandon. I feel like I'm just like getting to know you through this too.
Pretty much. I mean, this is just like we're just slowly learning a little bit by
Yeah.
bit here.
Oh,
I mean,
go
go ahead.
into it if you want to, Kens.
It's up
In
to
your
you,
own time.
Yeah.
But
I'll
like,
dabble in it. I'll briefly go into it. Yeah, I've experimented with psychedelics in the past. And you know, obviously, like weed, I used to smoke it quite often. I don't do anything anymore, but I'm super happy that I experienced those things. I don't know if I'll do it again necessarily, but they were very powerful. And like, you know, with certain psychedelics that I've done, you know, the concept when you were talking about how time doesn't really, like, you defeat time, those were real things, but obviously that was because of like the chemicals that were, you know, being put into my brain. But
can I ask what, like, exactly, like, you don't have to if you don't want to. I'm just kind of curious because I've heard,
yeah.
like, I've been pretty vanilla when it comes to anything like that. Like, weed was pretty much like my like cutoff point.
yeah.
So I've always heard like different things where it's like, oh, well, you don't want to do LSD, but you do want to do shrooms or da 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 da. Like, I don't know. I'm just curious, like, what kind of stuff we talking about here?
Yeah, no, so I have done LSD. I did it once when I was maybe, I don't know how old I was, a long time ago.
Okay.
And then I dabbled in shrooms a little bit too. I didn't love shrooms as much, and I never, like, my biggest thing with anything that I did was I always wanted to be in control. I Even with like alcohol and stuff, I think I've learned the alcohol thing like later in life, but like I don't like to be so out of control that I'm like,
Yeah, I don't think
Yeah, I
anyone
hate
not
that
do.
there.
feeling.
Did you
And
ever get to that point?
not with, no, like with LSD, I was very lucky to have a good trip because I've heard so many bad things, and like same with shrooms. But it's all about your mindset going into it. I don't know if you want me to like go fully in depth with my whole acid trip, but I can. Um, Basically, you know, I took it, and just everything, like time did not exist. Like, because you peak for about 5 hours, I'm pretty sure.
Holy, that's a hell of a fucking peak.
Yeah.
It's a long time. Like, I think the whole duration of it is like 12 hours.
Jesus.
Wow.
My
Yeah,
brain couldn't
so
handle that. Like, I already know I would love to experience what that is, but my brain would explode.
I think I'd literally leave it a different human being.
well, you do.
Yeah.
That's the thing, and like that's why, because I know like other people that have done it, and they do it like quite often, and I'm like, not for me. But like, because it does really, really, like it. I mean, I don't know the whole chemical aspect too much about it, which I do want to learn, but you know what it does to the mind is absolutely insane. Like, it's just, you know, the concept of time doesn't exist. And your visuals are quite different as well. I'll just touch on LSD first, and then I'll move on to shrooms. But with LSD, I remember at one point I was looking at my phone and I was texting somebody, and that's when I had like a BlackBerry, just to put in perspective how long ago this was.
Wow.
Wow, you
That's
just
a
put your
while.
age all over this, Ken.
But the phone was like the size of, like, I felt like I had to hold it with two hands. That's how big it was in my mind, or that's how I visualized it. Um, and just like music and like everything was just so like you felt it throughout your whole body. Like Led Zeppelin is one of my favorite bands, so we listened to the song Black Dog, but it was just like we were listening to it and I just got so into it, like I ended up falling off this chair and smacking my head, which probably wasn't good.
God.
Yeah, like, but like I didn't. Yeah, like it was really intense.
There you go, kids.
Don't
Trip
do drugs
responsibly, I guess.
Yeah, it's like don't I'm a prime example of what not to do. But yeah, like it's just like, you know, you felt it throughout your whole body is what I'm trying to get at. Like it's hard to explain in words because it's just such an experience. But like even there's a song by the Beatles that we were listening to, and in that song, only on this drug, I could hear this trumpet, because when I'm sober, I can't hear it.
I remember you telling me about this, dude.
Yes. Oh, what song was it? It was probably Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds, because that's the
I
most
think it was.
fitting.
I think it was.
Like, so you could like pick out a specific instrument from the track that you were listening to, because
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
your ears were just like more in tune with that shit.
Yeah, but then like listening back to it, you know, very sober, I don't hear anything. So
Wow.
Yeah, I've never heard a
didn't even
trumpet
exist.
in Lucy in the
Yeah.
Sky with Diamonds.
Yeah, it was intense. I'm trying to think of like what else kind of, like the trip was really long, and I can go into detail more about it like off the podcast.
Yeah,
Because I don't want to expose everything.
of
But
course.
basically, it's just like you're just in a completely different realm, it feels like, just
Wow.
with your body and your mind. And it's pretty powerful. Like, you know, coming down off of it, you're just kind of at a neutral state. I do remember coming down off of it very vividly. There was a bunch of people around me, and it was like a small little party, and everyone was like drinking, having a good time, and I was just so at peace with myself. And I just like, it was such a weird neutral state. Like I was happy and I was very peaceful, but like it was just my smiles were very like faint, and my expressions were just very non-existent, just because I was so zen. Like it was crazy and like weird thing to do. And like same with shrooms. I think, you know, with shrooms I would never take enough to be so high, because I don't know why actually, but yeah. And it's the same thing, like time didn't exist like at all. Like there's no like, you know, it's like weird, I can't explain it.
I think that like right there, what you just said is kind of what, because Jesse was talking about the whole idea of that it's like, well, what if like that experience that you feel is reality or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and like um or is like the way that we could be structuring ourselves. And like when I, because I feel like all drugs kind of, or all substances that we kind of put in ourselves do some form of like time dilation stuff, and I feel like that's like sort of the thing, is it's just like it more so just opens our minds up a little bit to like be disillusioned by things a little bit.
Yes.
And that's, I think that's what is like kind of keeping me from that like theory that you, or that idea that you had, Jesse.
Yeah, no, I totally see where you're coming from.
I think it's like a scary
but
thing.
I don't know,
It's
man.
awesome,
Like
but
Yeah.
it's just like how I kind of perceive it, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I guess
It's just
I'm
like,
just in the
sorry, go
mindset
ahead.
that like I don't know, I've totally separated myself from it. Do you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like, and I also have this general disbelief that we're doing things the right way. Do you know what I mean? That like humans had a way of figuring out what reality is. I have a hard time believing that. Especially when there's like Buddhist monks who believe you can live your life in silence and just pure thought and meditation, and in the next life you're gonna transcend your soul into like the next being. And I might be butchering what Buddhist thought is, but it's that reincarnation idea. And then eventually, doing that in enough lifetimes, you reach enlightenment. And that's just a whole different way of thinking about what life is.
It's
Like
like a whole different perspective.
in Western society, we think we have this one life. We have from birth to death, and we've been thrown here, and there's no real purpose, and we kind of make our own. I don't know where I'm going with this. I kind of just I hit a wall.
That is fair, because we have almost reached the 2 hour mark.
Yes.
So honestly, I think I like ending on psychedelic trips and and like flow state beings and whatnot, transcending time. I think that's a pretty hot and spicy spot to end it.